After we've determined the data we want to store in the class and created class constructors to initially put data into the class, the next thing we need to do is create a set of accessor functions that allow us to make changes to the data that we have stored in a class object. So let's start out by creating the first of these accessor methods, and we're going to call it setDate. We'll use setDate when we've created a date object with the default constructor and it doesn't have an initial date in it. So we'll write this function with 3 parameters for the month, day, and the year, and it will look just like our first constructor, in that we're simply setting each piece of the class data, month, day, and year, like so. So let's demonstrate how that would work. Let's scroll down to the main program. So let's say we create a date object today. There's no data in there, and we don't have the means to set the variables individually since they're private, so we call the setDate method with the month, the day, and the year, like so. And now today is set to 3/20/2011. While we're working with sets, we might as well just do the other 3 sets. We want to create a set function for each piece of data in the class. So we're going to write a void setMonth function. Here we can actually do some error checking to make sure that a valid month is entered. So here we can write if m is less than 1 or month is greater than 12, cout bad month value, else month equals m. This way, if the user enters something other than a 1 through a 12, rather than assign the value to month, it will send a message to the user telling them it's a bad month. So let's try that out real quick. So here we have today. We've set the date, and we could write today set month 13. Let's build and run that program. And you'll see that it returned bad month value. Now, there are better ways to do error checking and error handling than this, but those are the topics for an advanced C++ course. I wanted to give you a feel for how writing a set function could use error checking to guarantee that a valid month is entered. So let's go ahead and finish the other 2 methods. We won't do any error checking on these to save some time. And then void set year, int y, year equals y. Close off the function definition. And there are set methods. After you've written your set functions, then you need to write your get functions. This will allow us to return data from a class object. So let's get started. Because each one of these pieces of data is an integer, the get methods will all be integer returning functions. So we're going to write get month with an empty parameter list, return month, and that's all it has to do. And then int get day, same essential thing, return day. And then int get year, return year, like so. So now we could write some code to return the year from this object. So we can write cout month today get month indel cout day today dot get day indel and cout year today dot get year indel, and let's build and run that program. So we entered set date 3/20/11, and that's what returns from our get methods. And we could also format this a little bit better. We could write cout today dot get month slash today dot get day, followed by a slash, followed by today dot get year. Build and run. Oops. Oh, I left off the parentheses right here, so let's add the parentheses in. Build and run again. And you see in our last output, there's our date in a standard date format. That just about finishes the accessor methods. We just need one more. What we want to do for this one is write out a method that displays the whole date. So we're going to call this function displayDate. And it's going to print out the month followed by a slash, followed by a day. Let's move down to the next line. Followed by the day, followed by a slash, followed by the year. And we would use that in place of this long complex statement right here. We'll change this to today.displayDate. Let's build and run the program. Whoops, I have day twice. So let's fix that. Get rid of the second version of day right here. Line it up to make it look good. Got to stop the old program. Build and run again. There we go. Let's do one more thing with the class before we finish. Let's do a couple of sets just to make sure that everything's working okay. Let's do a set month to 4. Let's do a today.setDay to 22. And we'll leave the year as it is. Today, let's do a cout inline. And then today.displayDate. Build and run. I just did that to verify that my set methods were working correctly. One thing we could have done if we'd wanted to is we could have used our get methods in the displayDate function just to demonstrate that it's possible to call a class function inside the class. So I could have done this. I could have said get month right here. I am going to move this down to the next line. Followed by get day, followed by get year. Let's build and run the program again. Nope, I left out a slash. Right there. Stop and build and run again. And it's your choice which way you do it. It's probably just as efficient to call the data directly rather than call the functions. But I just wanted to demonstrate in this example that you can use the functions. So let's just do another version of that. We'll call it displayDate1, cout month, slash day, slash, followed by year. So there's the two versions of displayDate, both of them doing the very same thing. And that wraps up how to write accessor methods, which are also sometimes called getters and setters, since you very commonly use the prefix set and get before each of the function names themselves.